Many Native American tribes have stories about magical beings who resemble small people. One of these tribes is the Wampanoag. They call these creatures Puckwudgies. These beings are 2 to 3 foot tall, or knee-high, humanoid, and have large facial features and fingers. They have been described as having smooth, gray skin that sometimes glows. They resemble what most people would think of as a troll or a goblin. Puckwudgies have supernatural abilities and are often reported to be sinister. They quite frankly enjoy tricking and harming people. They can appear and disappear at will, making any appearance to a human either accidental or completely intentional. Some Native Americans have described them as being able to transform into part porcupine, part human type creature, with the front half looking like a person and the back half covered with quills.
Puckwudgies are known to have magic, and they have no problem using it to attack people. Their goal, it seems, is to trick and lure people to their deaths so that they can collect their souls. They are also reported to be proficient with poison arrows and can create fire, and disappear or appear at will. They are the rulers of the Taipawankas, who are supposedly the souls of men they have lured to their deaths. Taipawankas are often described as balls of light, similar to reports of will-o-wisps. Obviously, these creatures are meant to be left alone, and Native American lore says that if you do happen to cross one, you should never mess with it. Stories have been told of them kidnapping people, pushing them off of cliffs, attacking them with rocks, shooting them with poison arrows, stabbing them with small knives and spears, or even causing mental breakdown resulting in people being lost in the woods and never found.
Lore has it the Puckwudgies and people used to get along well together. But then, for some strange reason, the Puckwudgies turned against man. The Wampanoag have a legend that may explain why Puckwudgies are antagonistic towards humans. This legend comes from the Cape Cod, Massachusetts area of the United States. The Wampanoag believe in a great creator, who was a giant they called Moushop. The people worshipped Moushop, but the Puckwudgies were jealous of this affection. They had given aid to people over the years, and it angered them that they did not get the same affection and worship as Moushop did. So they gave up on humans and decided to torment them instead. The native people, tired of this torment, turned to Granny Squannit, Moushop's wife, for help. Moushop accommodated the humans by grabbing and shaking the Puckwudgies until they became confused. He then tossed them all around New England. Some died, but others survived and made their way back to Massachusetts.
The Puckwudgies that survived were so angry, they extracted revenge on the Wampanoag people. They kidnapped children and drew others into the woods where they killed them. As protectors of the Wampanoag people, Squannit and Moushop stepped in again and sent their 5 sons to deal with the Puckwudgies. Unfortunately, the Puckwudgies were prepared and lured the sons into deep grass where they killed them with magic arrows. Moushop's retaliation was swift and gruesome. He crushed any Puckwudgie he found, but many escaped. They regrouped one last time and tricked Moushop into some water and shot him with their poison arrows. It is at this point that Moushop disappears from the Wampanoag stories. Some legends claimed he was killed, and others claimed that he was too depressed from the loss of his sons to continue the fight. Whatever the case, the Puckwudgies still seem to carry a sinister distrust and intent towards the Wampanoag and man in general.
There continue to be sightings of Puckwudgies today. One of the places they are most reported to be seen is in Freetown Falls River State Forest in Massachusetts. This forest is also part of Watauga Reservation, which now belongs to the Wampanoag Nation. The sightings are so prevalent that the local government has even put up road signs warning travelers to be wary of their presence. Puckwudgies are said to fixate on people who see them. Seeing them once often leads to future encounters. Christopher Balzano from SpookySouthCoast.com writes about one such encounter.
Joan was walking her dog through the state forest in Freetown, Massachusetts on a cold Saturday afternoon in April when she saw the monster. As she and her dog Sid walked down the path, Sid became anxious and strayed a few feet into the woods. Joan followed him and stopped short. Her dog was lying completely flat in the leaves, and on a rock 10 feet away was a Puckwudgie. She described him as looking like what she would describe as a troll, 2 feet high, with pale gray skin, and hair on his arms and on top of his head. The monster seemed to have no clothes, but it was difficult to tell because his stomach hung over his waist, almost touching his knees. His eyes were a deep green, and he had large lips and a long, almost canine nose. The Puckwudgie stood, watching her, staring straight at her with no expression, almost like it was stunned to see her. Joan froze and remembers thinking the air in her lungs had been pushed out. Sid finally came to and ran back towards the trail, dragging Joan, who was still holding the leash tightly. Although the whole exchange took less than 30 seconds, it's remained with Joan 10 years later. She has not gone back to the forest, but feels that might not be enough. 3 times since the event, she has woken up to find the creature looking in on her. It has never attacked her or spoken to her. She has merely seen it looking through her bedroom window, staying just long enough for her to notice him. All 3 times, she claims she was fully awake and could move if she had to. Another location which is well known for Puckwudgie sightings is Mound State Park in Anderson, Indiana.